Right. Am I?
At the country bar, the Hank Williams Jr.
Oh,
song.
family tradition.
Yes, sang Family Tradition, and the crowd went
Nuts.
wild, like wild for this song. And I'm like, well, no wonder they don't like Bare Naked Ladies, and I'm leaving. And I don't have anything against that song. I have screamed that song very drunk at the end of
Oh yeah.
at a bar when we were at the country bar. This is not the thing. It was just because they were disrespected my band. I was so mad. I was so mad. I wanted to go
Folks,
find them.
we're about 18 minutes into this rant, by the way. Just
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
I'm like, we better go live because I'm not done. I'm gonna keep going. Oh, they can't hear me, dude. They
Yeah,
can't
I
hear the
fixed.
rant.
it's fixed.
I
It's
fixed.
fixed.
Oh, you couldn't even hear my rant? It's so sad. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. On tonight's Righting Wrongs, we are doing an AMA, Ask Me Anything. So we have writers in this group, gamers in this group, people who brew beer. We've got people who work for publishing companies. We've got animal lovers in here. We've got all kinds of things. People living all across the country. So really, quite frankly, conventions,
And one
hardcore
backpack.
convention goers, and one backpack.
Yeah.
Yes, because our backpack inhabitant, Miss Dolly, is missing.
I love that you put the backpack up. That's great. We got to make sure that we show Jess that you
Yeah, we
replaced
should
her with the
screenshot
backpack. That's fantastic.
That's great. Yeah, so yay, moms are in. Hello, moms. So if y'all have any questions, please ask. If not, we're just going to talk about our rants and raves and talk about what we're doing and what's going on. Like we have a new accountability group that some of us are in, so that's helping. So we could talk about that too. So what I would like to do though, Zafo, can you put a question up?
Yeah.
Because I do want to start with this year is mine and Zafo's 25th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Wow,
Thank
congratulations.
you, thank you. We've been married 25 years come December 6th. And we have two different destinations that we are trying to decide on where we're going. I will tell you, we have decided. So I want to see what y'all think. Whether we are going to New York City, and remember, this is New York City at Christmas time with the Rockefeller Center tree and all that kind of stuff I want to see. And you know I love Broadway. So New York City or Belize, which we've also always wanted to go because we've not been south of the border, and swimming across the river only doesn't count, Safo. So we haven't been to Latin America, South America at all. So we thought that would be really fun too. Quite frankly, it cost about the same. We literally pulled up Excel spreadsheets and mapped it out today. So cost-wise, it's about the same whether we go to Belize or New York City. So if we could put up the vote, we want to see where you think we should go, to New York City or Belize for our 25th wedding anniversary.
Before I answer or before I vote on that, do you have a carbon monoxide detector?
In our house?
Portable that you can carry with you to Belize?
No, why? Oh,
Then
that's right. In that
look
resort
for
that just happened. Well, we're going to stay at a Hilton. We're very careful whether we go to either place, right? A Hilton. That's what we
Because
Possibly
points.
revealed
Timed out.
something there.
I know,
for a
me
second.
too.
I was like,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So we did decide, and I'm not kidding. We pulled out Excel spreadsheets. We
sure
definitely went
everyone
over
is-
this a lot.
Is very, very surprised that I pulled out an Excel spreadsheet to, help.
I'm
decide
stunned.
this. It's
We
totally
should
out of
probably make
character
a
for me.
list. I was like, we should probably make a list. And Zafo says, I'm opening Excel. I'm like, okay, well, we're good. So awesome. All right. What excitement? Who else would like to start with some excitement they have? No excitement?
Oh, that's funny.
Look, we're an adventuresome bunch. You
I
got to
just
vote, Mom. You can't
I-
just say New York City. You got to vote.
Excitement. I got crabs.
Yes, you did. Jay gave you crabs.
Yeah,
Yeah, she announced it on social media.
she did it. Gave her great joy to do that.
We're not going to say anything else. No, okay.
Nope.
It's 2 hermit crabs that hate each other, and I've named them Joan and Betty. So they are currently not fighting, but you can hear them. They scriddle around in their little crab-a-tat. I got to get them a bigger crab-a-tat, I think, but they're exciting.
What
That
do
is
the
a
cats
perfect
think?
reference, Jess. I love it.
Joan and Betty.
Yes.
Yeah, Joan enjoys she likes to take little walks. She comes out, she'll play around. Betty is like, F you, I want it back in my trailer. I just have acting to do. But Joan's like, she's Joan. She's Miss Crawford. I call her Miss Crawford because I'm afraid to
Yeah.
not.
I was gonna say, just don't give her any hangers. We'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah. Want to keep the other hermit crab safe.
I actually am a little bit obsessed with Joan Crawford. I listen to this podcast called and why am I as soon as I have to say the name of this podcast, I can never freaking say the name. It's You Must Remember This, and it's about like the Hollywood's first century. So I'm really weird, and I don't think anybody on this channel will be surprised by that. But
Yeah, because
yeah,
the rest
so-
of us are totally normal.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I listen to that all the time, and the person did a like a 8-episode arc on Joan Crawford, and it was amazing. And I've listened to it twice, so I'm kind of like obsessed with Joan Crawford.
That's really
Why Joan
weird
Crawford?
serendipity. I watched a video this morning about a movie called Trog, which is
Oh,
from
yeah.
the early 70s, which is Joan Crawford's last movie.
Yes,
It's really weird that she would come up tonight 12 hours. I mean, I don't think about Joan Crawford that often. 12 hours ago, I was watching a video about her. Very weird.
I've seen that movie a couple of times. Which-
It's apparently not good.
No, it's
No.
not.
Wait, you just watched it. You're like, apparently.
I didn't watch the movie. I watched a video about the
About
movie.
the movie.
Oh.
I have seen the movie multiple times.
That doesn't tell us whether it's good or not, just for the record.
Well, so, when I was a kid, on a Saturday morning when all the cartoons were off, you just sort
Yeah.
of watched what you had.
Yeah.
And that was on rotation.
Yep.
That's how it worked back then, kids.
Creature feature.
You had to watch what
Yes.
was on TV. You didn't have a choice.
Feature double feature.
No, you could just go read a book. That's what I did after the cartoons were off.
Gasp.
Gasp.
I probably had to go work. I had to mow grass or something. I'm sure my dad had a job for me.
Yeah.
So.
The old
He didn't
man.
want you getting in trouble, man. You got to keep those kids busy.
So there is a question in the chat
It's
Yay,
very
question.
important.
from Spikette.
Mhm.
Very important.
It is a very important. When is everybody arriving at Dragon Con?
That's a good
Wednesday for
question.
me.
Wednesday when?
I don't know. Sometime I think early afternoon probably.
Nice.
You might get there first. We'll be there Wednesday as soon as we can, but it probably will be around 7 p.m. because it's, a
Add
10
an
and a
hour and
half
a
hour
half.
drive.
No, it's a 12-hour drive. Add an hour and a half.
I'm flying,
Why?
so I don't get a choice. I'm
Because-
either there or I don't, or I'm not.
Are you working the booth, Greg?
We don't have.
Or
a
are you
booth.
just attending? Oh, do you have a booth?
We don't. No,
Okay,
we applied for one. We were on the waiting list. We didn't get one. It'll
Okay.
probably take years for us
Yeah.
to get one. So we'll just keep applying. We're okay with it this year because it's nice to have some fun, right? Because once we have a
Sure.
booth, there won't be fun anymore. We'll just be working
No.
the booth.
It's
Yep.
work.
Well, the
Yeah.
booth is
Yeah.
fun.
Okay. We'll put you more hours on the booth.
I love it. I'm happy to do it. No, genuinely, I really enjoy working the table. That's a lot of fun for me. I looks like I'm gonna show up on Thursday, I think, and I guess leave on Sunday.
Okay.
Oh,
So
So Henry gets the bed twice.
who's Henry?
Henry's coming with us. Remember, he's Kevin's brew buddy. So he's coming to
Oh, okay.
volunteer. So we're bringing a cot for him. So, it's first come, first serve, man. That's how we play. Yeah, Greg, you have to meet us for dinner. Yeah. So yeah, Greg, definitely. Big Kahuna is the tradition on Wednesday night.
Okay.
So last year they closed early and we were very upset, but Mom and I always have to get whatever the big drink is. Like one year, the big, like basically it was a Blue Hawaiian, right? So it was super sweet, but it had it had bird of prey in it one year. And it had, what was it? The Ferengi ship. I can't remember what that one's called.
Marauder.
The Ferengi ship, the Marauder, yeah.
It's just the Marauder. So it had that in
Yeah.
there one year. So like usually it's a Star Trek theme because it's blue and they would put in some kind of ship in it. So every
Hmm.
year. But last
Okay.
year they closed early and we didn't get to go and we were very upset. So hopefully they'll be open this time. But we always go to the Big Kahuna on Wednesday night.
Well, if they're open, I will meet you all there. Thank you for the
That'll be
invitation.
awesome. And we have our Kevin Petway. I don't know if you wanted to get aquarium tickets Saturday night.
No.
Okay. So we're going to the aquarium Saturday night. And Greg, you got tickets, right? Yeah. So
Yep.
Mom and Vicky, if y'all want to go, I know you live there, so you don't always want to go to the aquarium. But we'll be going because Henry wanted to go too, and it's been years since we've been. So it would
That's
be
a
fun to go.
boss aquarium. It's
Oh,
so
it
good.
is. No doubt.
Yeah.
Favorite in the world.
I've been once
It's
years ago.
fantastic. But I have been many times,
Mhm.
and my goal
Mhm.
for this Dragon Con, which
Mm-hmm.
is utterly ridiculous, is to avoid crowds as much as possible.
Mm. Good
Did you
plan.
see the
Well-
rules though? They do have rules. Kevin, explain the rules. Safo.
Masks.
Well, that was quick.
Masks.
Do they enforce the rules?
Yes.
They did last year.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't see anyone without masks last year.
Yeah.
They definitely enforced them last year. And
Okay.
last year you had to have proof that you were insured. Maybe
I'm
we should
insured.
do that too. Vaccinated. You had to have proof that you were vaccinated or a negative test, right? That was like 24 hours old only. So you had to have that and you had to wear a mask the whole time.
Yeah.
And they
Do you
did
need it?
enforce it.
Do you need the proof this year?
You
No.
do not. You just have
Okay.
to wear a mask this year.
Oh my god, I'm gonna kill you, cat.
So masks it is. And yeah, no, they definitely enforced it. It was really cool.
Yeah, I've been to a few cons where they have claimed that everybody is supposed to wear a mask, and
Sure.
maybe, 40% of the people do. Not like Dallas Expo, where
No, Dallas
like,
was suggested.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
That
think
was not forced. Yeah.
5 or 10% of the people there were wearing masks. I was one of them.
Welcome to Texas.
Yeah.
It avoided us altogether. The thing is, I would like to see how much trouble because last year it was pretty easy for them to decide what to do and easy to enforce it. This year, I don't know how easy it's going to be to enforce it. So we'll see because they're also short in volunteers.
Mm.
How many volunteers short were they, Safo? Do you remember?
I know that last I heard, I know it's better than it was, but I think we are sub 200s. Tech Ops has a cap of 332 volunteers.
So you're missing like 130 just from Tech Ops.
Wow.
Just for Tech Ops. If anyone wants to run a soundboard, let me know.
He's got to put you behind one. Yeah, so Saturday night. So Kevin, if you don't want to go, you're not going to the aquarium. You could hit the symphony if you want to do the symphony Saturday night. Mom and Vicky, because they get
Maybe.
what's it called? They're gonna have to help me. They get to be in the front of the line. So you can, and they can take one guest with them. So you can always go with them and wait in the front of the line and go see the symphony. It's actually really good. But we've seen it
Yeah.
every year, and we want to go to the aquarium again. So
Yeah, I enjoy that kind of thing.
it's
That's
funny
interesting.
because the symphony, the conductor, he's bald, so he always wears the Star Trek Next Generation uniform, so he looks like Picard when he gets out of the It's awesome.
That's good.
So are we in the Westin? Is that right?
No, we are in the Hilton.
Oh, in the Hilton.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we're in the Hilton. I want to be in the Westin, but Hilton is where
Yeah.
we have our legacy, and Westin doesn't do legacy. So it's a lot less stressful to have a room we always know we have as long as the credit card,
Oh, yeah.
clicks. Yeah, we would much rather have that than have to worry about trying to get one every year. So if Westin ever does legacies, we'll switch
Yeah.
because that's where all the writers hang out.
Right. And that's I guess that's why I thought maybe that was where you were at, but but that's okay. I mean, honestly, I think the very first time Lena and I went, we were like in the Ramada, which is, I don't know, it's a block or two away. And every other time we've been in the Hilton.
Mhm.
Usually we were up in the tower, which was kind of nice because it was quiet up there.
In the Hilton, or you mean the Westin?
In the Hilton.
Or the Hyatt? You mean the Hyatt?
Oh, I mean the Hyatt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to say the Hyatt's the one who has the tower.
Yeah.
And that's where KJA always stays. But most of the writers are in the Westin.
Yeah.
But
There you go. There's the breakdown.
What?
That's
Cat brought,
funny.
looks like Vicky's cat brought home a snake today. I thought he was just going chipmunks. He's bringing home cats now? Or he's bringing home snakes now?
Wow.
I don't know if that's moving up or down. Their cat loves to bring home chipmunks and bring them in the house. They're not quite dead. So drops them in the house and it takes off. And then the dog goes after it.
That is
Yep.
indeed a
Alright.
long drive, but it's good.
So Jess, why are you obsessed with Joan Crawford?
I don't know. I mean, I was always a Mommy Dearest fan when I was a kid. I love that. But it's actually completely inaccurate. It's just dumb. But after I listened to that podcast, I really was fascinated by her. And I love Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. It's probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So I just saw that maybe a couple of months ago in the theater for its 40th or not 40th, whatever, old anniversary. So it was fun. And she was, Joan Crawford. I don't know how to describe it other than that.
I mean, she was a badass. You got to give her that.
She was insane, but I mean, I think artists are.
I think as writers, we would say that she had agency.
She, yeah.
Very good.
No matter how much people tried to tell her, she didn't. She claimed it.
Right.
Pretty
She-
much
And
the
I
same
think
thing as being insane.
She was married to
For a
Douglas
woman at that
Fairbanks Jr. Like, she was married to Hollywood royalty and then got divorced and, I don't know. She was just fascinating.
and getting divorced back then is way different than getting divorced now.
Yeah.
That was incredibly scandalous at the time.
And she
to do
got
something
divorced
like
like
that.
several times, I think. Like
Yeah.
3 or 4 times. So. And I was actually thinking about the quote, because when I decided to name the crabs Joan and Betty, I was like, well, they're in these fancy shells, right? So the kid picked out the crabs with the bejeweled painted shells and stuff, which they're probably going to want to get rid of as soon as they. But anyway, I was like, well, that's appropriate because Joan Crawford, like, she famously said in her autobiography, like, whenever I go out, I always make sure I am nothing less than with my hair and makeup done, and I'm Joan Crawford, because that's what people want to see. If you want to see the girl next door, then go next door. And I was like, oh, harsh. So that's my crabs there. If you want to see the crab next door, go next door. These crabs are Joan Crawford.
These crabs are extra.
Nothing that lives in this house could not be extra. Let me just clearly state that right now.
I like the picture you posted with all the animals on the bed, and you were like, I guess I sleep on the couch.
Yeah.
It's my life. It's my life. Currently, the cat is laying across the keyboard. He could care less, but as soon as I get on a Zoom meeting or this every Monday night, he's like in my face. So,
Like, you're not paying attention to me, and that's unacceptable.
yeah, it's completely unacceptable to him.
I mean, you're talking. It must be to me.
Of course.
Awesome. So, Greg, what have you been up to?
Oh, my fabulously talented editor just got returned the manuscript for the sequel to The Last Humans to me last night. So I've been going through those notes. But,
You don't have to be nice to me now. I've already given it to you. The comments are before, right?
yeah, yes. No, I want you to. No, I don't want to. I can't be too nice to you because then you might be too nice back and say you have to be cruel. You have to be in your
Oh,
cruelest
there's no threat of
mindset.
that. No, there's no threat.
No, we haven't been doing a whole lot. We went and saw a stand-up comedian Saturday night with my cousin and her husband, so that was fun.
That's fun. Yeah, you
First
did you
time.
have four social engagements this weekend? Like you were Mr. Popular. Did you make it?
3. It was 3.
Oh, okay, 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I made it. It was pretty exhausting. The one on Sunday was very short. Our neighbors were coming over for a drink, and usually those stretch several hours, but they had a dinner engagement, so they couldn't stay more than an hour. So which we love our neighbors and they're great, but it was actually like I was so tired. I was like, that's fine.
You were after the other 2 Saturday. You're like, this is perfect. Thanks, man.
Yeah. No, guys, it's great. Yeah. Whenever you have to go.
Yeah,
But,
Zafo brewed Saturday over at Tammy and Henry's house. So he was
Yeah.
brewing over there. And actually, Xander went and stayed with him all day. So then I call him around dinner time because I was going to go over for dinner. And I'm like, all right, and I worked all day, right? So I'm like, what's the thing for dinner? He's like, I don't know. We haven't even thought about dinner. I'm like, okay, dude, I can't make any more decisions today. So if you need me to make a decision, I'm out and going to bed. If you can make decisions, I'm on my way.
my wife and I compete for that when it's neither of us can stand to make any more decisions. And it's like, what's for dinner? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? It's like, well, I guess we're just going to sit here until someone breaks.
It's like, nope, I'm out of decisions. I could just go to bed.
Like, I'll eat cereal.
What about you, Dave?
Well, Kelly, you just made me think of a question. Since we're doing Ask Me Anything, I assume
Yes.
we can ask questions too. That you're talking about not wanting to make any more decisions.
Mhm.
So, do you consider yourself a writer who also edits, or an editor who also writes?
Well, I guess I consider myself a reader first. I'm a reader
Mhm.
first. And then, okay, it's a hard question. I will say that I enjoy editing more. I love, because that's all problem solving.
Sure, yeah.
It's all actually seeing how other people are doing things. It's going through and experiencing something new. And usually you're the first one too, right? It's you and the
Yeah.
writer. So
Yeah.
because I do a lot of dev editing. So a lot of times I'm also the first. So I can actually, go, it teaches me how to behave myself because my job isn't to tear anyone apart, right? And let's face it, I lean a bit towards bitch. I mean, if you don't believe me, you can ask Safo. He'll tell you all about it. And so I spend a lot of, that's not who I want to be, right? So I spend a lot of time of my life trying not to be who, they say be your authentic self. Yeah, they don't know who I am authentically. You don't want me to be my authentic self. So I do the best I can because it's not my job to ruin someone else's life, right? Or ruin someone else's day even. That's not my job. So I need to go through and figure out how to make the story the best it can with my suggestions, because that's what they are, but not break the writer. So
Right.
I really like that balance. It like shows me how to be a better person. Like just now with Kevin on the phone, I'm like, I can't make any more decisions, right? Like I've got to the point in my life, I know what this means. Where if 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh, I don't feel like going out. I just don't want to. I'm just going to go sit down now and go to my room. And I just don't want to do anything. Like I didn't realize what was wrong with me was I was overwhelmed and I couldn't make any more decisions. Right.
And we had a great time.
And I had a great time because I didn't have
We
to
ate
make
some
any
food.
decisions.
We played some Exploding Kittens.
So I guess an editor before a writer.
Cool.
If I never had to write again, I'd be okay with that.
Hmm.
You know where they say don't write unless you have to?
Writers like having written.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
true.
Totally true.
Yes. Feels great after.
Yep. Yeah. I have to say,
Although there's also that moment of, well, I'm sure I can never accomplish that again. Yeah, it's, you gain
Yeah.
no confidence from having completed something.
no, it's frustrating.
Nope.
I like the inspiration part where you come up with
Yeah.
the idea and you get really excited about the
Mhm.
idea.
Yeah.
And then I like being done with it. So the execution sucks. But like the
What?
The inspiration and the completion is great.
My favorite part is when the thing I added in randomly because it seemed cool and had no plan for, suddenly in my brain magically connects to the other thing I added in randomly and makes both of them better. And then you just get this like snowballing effect where things keep stacking up, and I'm just like, yes.
Yeah,
That's my favorite. That's why I can't outline. If I outline it, that I don't
You
get
lose that excitement.
that experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I do outline, but I still get that.
Yeah, me too.
I just, for me, I mean, I've said this many times before, is I don't think there's any functional difference between a first draft and an outline. You're just deciding what the story is going to be. But my recommendation to writers who get themselves in a pickle and can't figure out how to get out of it is to add a complication to it to make it worse.
Yeah.
And that, for me anyway, invariably leads to not just a solution, but a clever solution that I would never have thought about otherwise. Which is a lot of fun, and then you get all
problem solving. Yeah.
But I hate the inspiration part, Jess, that you're talking about, because invariably it happens as I'm trying to go to bed, and then I can't sleep.
Right.
Then I'm just like stuck until 2 or 3 in the morning.
I've learned to just get up and deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I either have to get out of bed and go right until I get too tired, or I just stare at the ceiling.
For me, my best ideas come in the shower and have a half-life of about 90 seconds. So if I can't somehow find a way to write them down, they're going to be gone. I've definitely had character names that I've thought of in the shower and then just like repeated them like a mantra until I could get out of the shower
hurry,
and write them down.
hurry.
Yeah.
We need to find you a waterproof whiteboard, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I've looked into it.
Of course, yes.
Well, we have the Google thing in our shower, like right outside, so we could always tell it to take a note for us.
I didn't know it could do that. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't tried that.
There you go.
There's got to be a way, right?
Yeah.
I think all the robot slaves can do it except for the vacuum cleaner. But
unless you get a really fancy vacuum cleaner. Then it can tell you what's in your fridge. I mean, I don't know how, but I'm sure it's all connected somehow. That sounds like a novel waiting to be written.
Yeah, for real.
I had another writer question. I guess I'm like I want to be podcaster because I always come up with questions and I want to ask people.
I love it.
And I like asking Kelly questions because she usually is the one asking the questions. So I'll start with Kelly. Anybody else who wants to jump in, go ahead. Kelly, what is the worst writing advice you've heard? What is the wrongest writing advice that you've heard?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say the worst writing advice I've ever heard is when someone says, for sure, this is the only way to do it. No matter what it is. If they're like, this is the only way, that is the worst writer advice I've ever received. Next.
Wait.
I mean, the classic, you must write every day is a pretty bad one, I think.
I think so too. Because then if you can't do it, you feel like a failure, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's a good one. What about you?
That's certainly very common.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's not really a thing. I mean, if you can sit down and write, you can, you don't have to do it every single goddamn day. I'm okay being away from it for 1 day at a time. If I'm away from it for 2 days, then apparently I'm told I start to become a little bit of an asshole. And
I do too.
Oh, look, there's inner assholes in all of us. Do you see that? It's not just me. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. I think
I've never seen any evidence of it myself.
I feel better if I write every day. Even if I don't write a lot, I feel better if I write every day. If I don't write anything at all for like 2 days, like I settle in place, and then it becomes a lot harder to write anything on the third day. So if I didn't write today, and I'm kind of nervous about that, I'll probably write when we're done. Even if I only write 50 words, at least I didn't write 0. For me personally, and I'm not saying that's writing advice that everybody should take. I think everybody has to find what works for them. But for me, I have found if I stop, then it's really hard to get started again.
And that's the best writing advice: is find what works for you.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Find what you can do sustainably in terms of how you write, like that you won't burn yourself out, but you keep steadily going.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the best writing advice, whatever that is.
What about you, Jess?
The worst advice. I don't know about worse, but it's the advice that annoys me because I see it and it immediately makes my like rage, like the Hulk smash come out. And it's when people are like, you must avoid tropes at all costs, and they like to make fun of tropes. And
Yeah.
I really hate it because a trope is just a story construct that when it works, it really, really works. Yeah, if you do a shitty job of writing it, it doesn't, but so does everything. I mean,
Yeah.
so that really annoys me. I remember going to a when I was very green, very new. I went to this workshop for science fiction fantasy writers, and they had that Turkey City lexicon of tropes. And I was like, and they were like giggling like it was the funniest. Like, I can't believe anybody would ever do this. And I'm like, every single one of you assholes has written this shit. Don't even tell me that you. I've literally sat in the critique groups and read your crap that you claim you would never do. So I don't want to hear it. I just think it's another way for people to get snotty about stuff and pretend like they know things when, like, I don't know. It's like when you act like a certain, like, something's a guilty pleasure or, you know, whatever. There's no such thing for me as a guilty pleasure. Like, I like it or I don't, except for this.
Yeah.
There's no pleasure, see?
Like, why should you feel guilty for enjoying something?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
unless it's like harmful to the thing or illegal, then maybe you
Sure.
should feel guilty about it. But, you know, I'm not going to feel guilty for enjoying soap opera tropes on Days of Our Lives. It's fun. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Restaurant Impossible. Restaurant Impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Oh,
have.
by the way, thanks for telling me about Moonshine Distillers because I've been watching that nonstop for the last like 4 days.
Oh,
And I keep going. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Don't you know anything about distillation? Have you never had a class? Oh, that's right. You don't. You're like a hillbilly. So
says the chemist. See, she does know. I love
we
it.
have a good question from the audience.
No,
Uh,
you haven't told us what was bad writing advice.
Bad writing advice for me
Uh-huh.
was to write because I'm bad at it, and
Aw, I
I'm
don't know
not a
that's
writer.
true.
Not
I am
true. It's
literally
just practice.
just not a writer. So, meh. I don't have the stories in my head that have to come out. I know that's very foreign to all of you here, but
We're all confused now. You've lost
I
us
know,
all.
I know, I get it. But the audience question is, what is a trope?
I've been talking a lot. Someone else want to answer? Dave, why don't you answer?
Okay, I'll try. A trope is a very standard story
Good
beat
boy.
that has become common to the point where sometimes hitting those beats will be considered derisive because you're not subverting expectations. So like a romance novels are replete with tropes. The beat cute, like and the happily ever after, and the moment in the middle where they break apart because of a misunderstanding, and like those are tropes. But I'm very much with Jess here. They're rhythms for a reason. Like they're reassuring for a reason, and I think the criticism against tropes is if your story is only tropes. Like if that's the only value it has. I don't have interesting characters. I don't have an interesting setting. I don't have an interesting plot, but I hit these beats. That I think is the only time when like the trope thing. It's not really you shouldn't be criticizing a story for having tropes. I think you could criticize a story if it was only tropes. But
Yeah,
and
Fair.
some tropes are overused as is, but there's pretty much no trope that you can't take and play with and create something new out of it. I kind of look at them as paintbrushes. It's just a tool that you're using to make your art. And, if you do something unique with that paintbrush or a combination thereof that nobody else has done before or few people have done before, good for you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I look at it as so when you're listening to music, and there are some people who really like jazz, experimental jazz, where the notes don't always make sense. Like what you think is going to happen doesn't happen, and something weird happens. And there's a beauty and a skill in that, and I get that. It's not my preferred kind of music. It drives me insane. I like Britney Spears. I'm not going to lie about that. Like I like pop music that has a repeatable structure and rhythm, and when you're playing guitar, there are some chords that go together and make a natural, like they just fit. That's to me what a trope is. It just naturally fits a story. And yeah, overused or poorly written, they're bad, but put together correctly, and it just makes the stories that we have, all of them.
And most readers will at some point be craving a story that is very familiar in a well-executed fashion, something that they can pick up and know what they're going to get and know how they'll feel at the end. And that's comforting, especially if, not that we've any of us have had experience with this. You're in sort of crazy, unprecedented times all the time. Sometimes the comforting, the comfort story, which is full of tropes, is a good thing. And and sometimes you want something new, and then you might look for something that does something a little different. And it's there's very few, I feel like, readers or audience members or whatever that are never going to take enjoyment out of a trope-filled story.
Well, we should do that then. Why does everybody tell us? Because Zafo can answer this one too. He reads more than I do, that boy. He's faster than I am. It's not fair.
Oh,
anyways.
Hold on. Just a second. If you later, after the stream, if you want to really go down a rabbit hole, tvtropes.org.
Oh, God.
Oh.
It's got some great, hilarious stuff in there. Just, it's tropes. Take the whole Great Assault thing with some people don't like him and some people love him. Anyway, go ahead.
That's a weapons grade level distraction.
Natural history teacher?
Oh,
TV
God,
tropes.
yes.
Yeah, it is weapons grade. Yes, that is weapons
Hey,
grade.
Teach.
Hey. Yeah, we're doing
Good to have you
an
here.
AMA. Ask us anything. So please, if you have a question, throw it in the chat. We would love to answer it. Right now, we're talking about tropes.
Doesn't have to be a writer question, Teach. Though.
No,
It
anything.
Can't be about anything.
And it can be anything.
Please don't quiz us on history because I don't remember it.
Well, he's
No
not
math.
your history teacher.
And the rest of us will just make it up.
We'll just make it up. That's
Almost
what we do.
anything.
That's what we're going to do. That's our trope. Well, why don't everyone, because just to illustrate the trope point, if you can tell us what your favorite trope is and the one that annoys you the most. So if you could think about it.
I have both of those ready.
All right, go, Dave.
Okay, so my favorite trope, I think, is, and this is a lot of people's tropes they really like. I like enemies to lovers. I think enemies to lovers is a great trope.
It's a popular trope. Yep.
I think it's a ton of fun. The trope I hate is the liar revealed. I can't stand the, character has to tell a lie early in the story and it's going to come out and you're just sitting there for half the story waiting for the moment when everybody finds out. It can be done well, but a lot of times I find it annoying.
Fair. Those are very good examples. Who wants to go next? Anyone have?
Okay. One of my favorites, I have a lot that I really like, but one of my favorites is the 5-man band, which is it's just a way of structuring your main character and the secondary characters by their characteristics. You've got, the leader, which is typically your main character, the heart, the lancer, the big guy, and the brain. I think is, but there's variations on it, but it's
And the
it's
secretly
kinda-
evil one.
Well,
Like Raceland. I always go back to Raceland,
sometimes
right? The
Lancer
secretly evil one.
is it falls into that, but the point of it is it's a really good way to hit the ground running, because people are used to that, and so it's a real easy way to just very quickly do some character sketches when at the very beginning, and then you're off. You're just telling story. You don't have to spend a lot of time on explaining who everybody is because everybody always already gets it. Probably one of my, I don't necessarily know if I hate it, but it's something that I notice every single time it happens. And so it takes me out of whatever I'm watching. And you always see this in like a TV show where there's like a very heroic type of character. Buffy used to do this all the time. Matter of fact, it should have a Joss Whedon label on it. Is that if there is somebody walking across the street and there is a truck, that truck's going to hit them and they have to be rescued. Somebody has to run across the street and grab them and carry them off the street. And that truck driver never even slows down, never hits the horn, never looks at it. I mean, it's like, here's this person in the middle of the street that's walking down the street. And how many times has that happened to anybody in a car where you haven't stopped or pulled to the side or honked your horn? They never do it over and over and over again.
He even does that Dr. Horrible. That's a good point.
Now, I have to go again because Kevin has just triggered a rant in me and I've never had an opportunity to rant about it. I watch a lot of Star Trek, and a consistent trope in Star Trek, and they do this in other shows too. Some of the procedural shows will do this too. But the character, the like leader character, the captain or whatever, will be somewhere, sick bay or something, and then they'll say, bridge to Captain Picard, Picard here. Captain, you better get up here. There's something you need to see. No, I'm not hiking my ass all the way up there. What? Just freaking tell me.
Tell me.
It's like 6 decks. If it's important, just freaking tell me.
No time to explain.
They do that constantly, and it just annoys the hell out of me.
Well, and if it's not Star Trek, if it's not Star Trek, that trope, whatever that would be called, is always accompanied by an automobile ride. Somebody calls you on the phone and says, hey, I've got something I need you to see. And so you have to go get into the car, drive for half an hour, so they can give you a conversation that was over in 2 minutes, and you could have had it then. Oh. Sorry.
That person looked really hard for that set, though. I mean, really hard. They have to earn their pay, and we're going to use it because...
The location scouts did a fantastic job.
That's right.
There's a Simpsons where Nelson the bully runs up to the other kids. It's like, come quick, you have to see, no time to explain. And then they're running, and he stops and gets a drink at the water fountain. And they're like, what's going on? He's like, I said there was no time to explain, and I stick by that.
That's funny. I'm gonna say in the one that I like the most is the rogue, who's a pain in the ass and has loose morals, but inside he's got a big heart. I love that. That's my favorite. I don't care. That trope can be everywhere, and I am on board. The trope I hate is the really close confidant friend. Somebody who's been friends for years or comes in to save you and then is a traitor at the end.
Yes.
That drives me batty. Oh, so that one I don't like.
I'm struggling to think of a good one that I don't like, but one of my favorites that I can never get enough of is the wild card character who might help the good guys, might help the bad guys. You can never tell. So, and they're always just a ton of, they're always like, they steal every scene they're in. They show up and you're like, oh, it's going down now. I don't know how, but it's going to go down. I love those characters.
They're always fun. All right. How about you, Jess? Zafo?
I like tragic deaths. I like giving someone hope and then ripping it away. If you've ever read my books, you know this about me. And the one I hate is, I agree, the liar. I can't stand a story that starts off with a lie, and then if it was just all it would be solved is by just telling the truth, like a very simple truth. You're like, really?
Mhm.
You're afraid to tell
Yeah.
somebody
Ooh.
that you're like those Meet the Focker movies where he's like, he doesn't want to tell him he's a nurse. I'm like, what is wrong
You're
with
like,
you?
this is lame.
Everything about this bothers me, so I hate that too. I just
I thought of my hated one, and it's where the characters are not sharing information for stupid reasons.
Oh.
Yes.
And the show,
Yeah.
and I was a big fan of the show in general, but the show Lost did this all the time. The characters would constantly be butting heads and not telling each other stuff for very stupid, like contrived
Yeah.
reasons,
No.
or for no reason at all. Just like I vaguely don't trust that person.
There were
Like-
very good reasons for that. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. and I don't mean the characters. I mean like the
writers.
writers.
Yes.
I'm with you, Greg. That's maddening. When people
Yeah.
just will not act like human beings and have a 2-second
Yes.
conversation, it's very annoying.
Yeah.
But
If
the
you- if
movie
you-
needs to happen.
If you
So-
have to do that, then I understand because sometimes you need to do that. But there needs to be like a good, actual good reason for not
Yeah.
divulging.
Oh, soap operas do that crap on purpose.
Yeah,
They
Spike,
gotta
that's
amp
right.
up the drama. Drama.
yeah, but that comes from like secret affairs. I love a secret affair.
Yeah, but that's something you should keep secret. It's usually dumb things.
Right.
Like
I don't
hate,
like it.
romances from the 1940s where they had to have their breakup moment. And it was always a stupid reason, right? It's like if you had just talked this, like White Christmas, one of my favorite movies. I love that Christmas movie. But their whole breakup over a misunderstanding, hearing something wrong over the phone, is just so stupid. It just drives me batty. So no, I agree. That one's dumb.
The misunderstanding thing where people have a misunderstanding with someone that they've known for years and they jump to the worst possible conclusion
Okay.
with no evidence is just really annoying.
Don't even talk. I just
True
Right.
confession time. That drives me nuts about the what are they? the Dresden Files books, because I feel like his cop friend, at least early on, every time something goes wrong, his alleged friend in the police always assumes he is the responsible for it somehow and leaps to the worst possible interpretation of all his behavior. And I'm like, this is your friend? like, what do your enemies look like?
However, I gotta say that all of those things that you're describing, and those are things that have long driven me bananas, they provide a lot of humor if, when you're writing, you treat those situations, which we're conditioned to expect these things to happen, right? We're conditioned to expect that person not to share that piece of information, or just to be a liar or whatever. If you don't treat it that way, if everybody's like, if you've built this situation where everybody is expecting that to happen, and then you just say, well, I could not say this, but that would be a real pain in the ass, and there's really no reason for me not to, so I'm going to tell everybody everything I know. And you treat it like, for me, one of the things that I look for when I'm writing humor is taking these situations that are very outlandish and then treating them as though an actual human being were living through them. And real people, just like you said, Greg, they don't act like that. They don't do that. They don't immediately jump to the worst possible conclusion unless they're married.
Or if they do, it's because they already don't like the person. Like if you
Right.
hated the person, then you would jump to the worst possible conclusion. It's the combination of allegedly liking the person and then assuming the bad thing that drives me nuts. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. That's like a little bit like Galaxy Quest, right? When they encounter the Mashers, they're trying to go through the
Right.
shit
This
tunnel.
show
Right.
is
And
horribly
they're like,
written.
what does this even do? Like, who would
Right.
design this?
But see, there you're lampshading it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and Zafo, so we have a question, so we're going to ask that question. But first, Zafo, what is your favorite trope and least favorite trope?
I think my favorite has got to be the Buffy speak, because I've been hitting TV tropes on the side to figure out what the tropes and stuff are, to
You're doing research.
say what the things that I like and hate are. So I like the Buffy speak because it's always kind of an in thing, and it's always quotable.
Like Veronica Mars too.
Yeah, right?
Uh-huh.
Don't you have it elsewhere to be? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Exactly. Just that little off. It just makes it interesting.
Mhm,
That's great.
mhm.
All right. And what do you not like?
What do I not like? Every hacking montage scene ever,
Yes, 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 yes.
including the absolutely amazing 1990s film Hackers.
Yeah. Yeah. That
All
drives
the
me
hacking in
crazy.
it's terrible, but
Pretty much the
Yeah.
trope namer.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's right.
yeah,
Right,
pretty much.
right. Og wants to know if that beard's coming back, Safo.
We'll see.
No, we're doing Riker beard. We're just tight. Riker beard. Sorry, Og.
Kelly likes it
All
tight.
right. I do like it tight. Mm-hmm. All right. Not your history teacher wants to know. Here's a writing question. What is your kryptonite as a writer?
So this would be like what we're bad at.
Yeah. What hurts your writing? What defeats your writing? I don't know.
Blocking.
Blocking.
I have a real hard time with blocking. I have a hard time working out. It in fight scenes, it's an absolute nightmare for me to work out blocking. But even in non-fight scenes, to remember who's standing, who's sitting. I have people stand up multiple times when they were already standing. Things like that. I really struggle with blocking.
Fair.
And
I usually
blocking
have
is
to do
just
2 or 3 passes.
I will say,
blocking
as an
being
editor,
the-
a lot of people do. You're not alone.
Starting
Go ahead, Safa.
chapters with scenery setting is probably mine.
What is it? I'm sorry.
Said starting chapters with scenery setting.
Oh yes, there might have been a comment or two in this current
or
book about
or
that.
50, yeah, or something.
Yeah, something. How many chapters were there? That many.
Yes. No, I never do it the first draft. I always have to go back and do it later.
It's all good. Talk about being fixed with a sentence or two.
Mhm.
What about you guys? Jess, Kevin?
I almost feel
Um,
like I should have you answer that question for me.
I am not pointing out the weakness in my writers. That's your job.
I would say I have always struggled with so I'll have a piece of dialogue and then I'll want to put some kind of like action in the middle of the dialogue and then more dialogue, which I think is fine, but if you word it as someone blobbity blod, it's horrible, and I overuse that. You have to be really judicious about it. When I first started out, I did it a lot, and I'm really self-conscious about it now because I had a guy tell me that I should stop writing because of it, and I was like, that's a little extreme.
Wow.
Oh,
But yeah, I was like, perhaps just point it out and then I'll look at it later. Anyway.
Yeah, wow.
So
Do you mean
I
constructive
think that's
criticism
that,
instead of
and then
destructive
yeah.
criticism?
oh no, he was crazy. And the other one is, I wouldn't have said this, but when I tried to do it, it was like a meaningful sex scene I tried to write. If it's just straight up like bad sex or whatever, I can do that all day long. But I was like trying to convey like actual caring, and I'm like, oh, it's because you don't care.
What is this emotion called
What's
love?
this caring
this love
thing?
nonsense. Yeah.
Ooh, this I can't do. So, I struggle through it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like I've had so many weaknesses. It's kind of hard to find one that really sticks out.
Had is the thing, right? So what's your current kryptonite? You've killed a whole bunch of those bugs.
Okay. Well, the thing that I'm wrestling with right now, is that I have written an outline that I feel like is an amazing first act of a trilogy, but a terrible book. So I am trying to go back and set aside how it fits into the larger story and just make it work as a book. And I'm finding it surprisingly difficult, and I'm not really sure why. I I don't know. So I'm trying to add more complications in, and I think I'm starting to see my way out. But it was a little odd how that hit me. I haven't really had that problem before. But then I didn't used to know as much as I do now about how to put together a book, so I didn't necessarily recognize that there was something wrong. Normally, I would have sent that to my editor, and she would have sent it back and saying, what the fuck is this?
Try again.
Yeah.
You could do better.
Very disappointing.
I've never written that.
Have you gotten the you can do better?
I don't know.
Yeah. I got a lot of that.
Taylor's gotten that too. And I don't even realize I'm doing it. So apparently it just happens. That's a compliment. Okay, it's a compliment.
I decided to take it that way.
Good. Because that's how it was meant.
But like the very first dev edit that I got back from Kelly, I read it and I was so angry. I just turned everything off and walked away from the computer. And it took me 24 hours to come back to it. And I'm like, okay, I'm calm now. I can actually read this and try and see what she's saying. So it took me a little while.
That's every edit. Even when it's like almost like entirely complimentary, you're just like, but like my perfect manuscript.
Your ego is never higher than when you open the editor feedback. This is perfect.
And
How
you're
dare
like,
you?
yeah, you can't wait to see
Yeah.
all the nothing but compliments that you
Yes,
got. You're like, yes,
exactly.
it's gonna be great. I'm gonna feel so good after this. What?
So here's the funny thing: the last two books weren't like that at all. The last two books were very easy. But those two books were the two books that I wrote entirely since I started working with Kelly. So before that, she was seeing, footprints left by other editors, and I had not absorbed any of the lessons that she wanted to impart. But as soon as I started writing them the way she wanted them, then everything was fine.
He's not wrong. Yeah, but I'll tell you, man, that fourth and fifth book, holy shit. So yeah, no, incredible, man, incredible. That I could just read the fourth book over and over again. It's so damn good. The fifth book is really good too, but it's an ending.
Yeah.
But the fourth book I can read over and over and over and over again.
That one stands alone really well, I think.
Yeah, I think it does too. Like, I want to enter it in contest. I wonder if maybe we can take off book 4 on the front and don't tell them it's a book 4, because it would sound pretty well alone. Because every time I try to enter them in certain things, they don't want to review them because it's not book 1, which I understand, right? But I mean, I'm sending it to you because I know it stands alone. You'll be fine. You'll be just fine with this book. Are you missing out on cool things? Yes. Kind of like if I go see like a Marvel movie, I never read the comics. Right? I didn't read the comics. So there are things that other people get that I don't get. But that doesn't mean I don't love the movie. That's the same thing with book 4 in your series. Book 4 in your series, anyone can pick it up and get it and love it. They're just going to miss some things, just like those little hidden things, because they didn't read the earlier books. But they won't miss the meaning. They won't miss the feeling of the book. They won't miss what's happening. They won't miss the arc. Like, it's amazing. So, sorry, enough about Kevin. Sorry, not sorry. It's a really good book. Y'all should read it. It's Illusions of Decency by Kevin Petway.
Book 1 of the Illusions of Decency monology.
That's right.
What do you write for fun? Asks Vixuk. Vixuk.
Right now, all my books for Kelly. So.
Oh, you think that's fun? That's so cute.
I mean, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. It's too much work.
It is a lot of work. Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't really write anything other than. See, I think I'm weird. Like I don't have like 80 different stories waiting to come out. Like most authors I know, for me it's like, man, writing a book is a lot of work. Like there's got to be like 4 or 5 different things that all interest me that I can weld together in a weird way to get me to be like, I guess that's worth writing a book about. So I don't have enough. I'll sometimes write a short story for fun. That's a small enough investment of my time that I can do it with a smaller idea, I guess. And um,
And you can explore.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and both
Yeah,
both
I'd agree with that answer. That
Mhm.
short stories are fun to write because you can do stuff that you don't normally do and try things that are weird and it's not as big an investment of time and frankly time that's supposed to turn into money. It's something that you can noodle on the side, and so yeah, I agree with Greg.
and both my series currently have emerged from short stories originally, so they started as short stories.
Personally, writing for fun, the occasional Facebook post.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Especially if he's been drinking.
Especially if I've been drinking. Oh, absolutely. Those are the best ones.
Jess, do you write for fun?
I do. I like I also write short stories when I'm in the mood to write. I started out writing short stories, so that's like my original thing. I didn't actually think I could write a whole novel. But I like those New York City midnight contests where you get prompts and then you have like a certain set time to churn out something. I really think it's fun. It's a good exercise and it's a way for you to, try a different genre that you don't think you can write. Because if you're a writer, you can write anything that anybody gives you. You just have to think it through, right? It's just solving a problem.
Right.
So I really like doing that. It's fun. Seeing what weird things, how weird you can incorporate. And when I first started doing them, I was really bad at it. Like, I would get so frustrated. I'm like, there's no way I can put a periscope in this stupid story. And then by the end of it, when I kind of stopped, I would be like, okay, yeah, I got it. And then I would just blurt it out. And it always comes out great when you just let it rip. So I think it really helped me out. And it was fun.
Yeah. It's a kind of a two-part thing for me because I mean, it's like I used to write for fun until I started getting paid for it. And now, I'm always looking to turn anything that I write into,
Money.
possible money.
Couple of dollars.
But the other half of that is that I enjoy writing all of it. So, I mean, at the same time, it's kind of all for fun.
Yeah.
I don't write for fun. I just have to do it.
I think there were two more new questions
Think
up
there
there.
were? Did you
I
say
don't
we
want
should
to
write
take
for
over
fun, Dave?
Zaphos' job.
Or did
Did
you
I?
agree with short stories?
I kind of agreed with Greg.
Okay.
I used to write in a Star Trek like writing role playing group, and that was quite fun.
That would be
But-
fun.
Where it's like you're writing a shared story and you each have a character, and one of the great things about it was it taught you to cue things up for other people, to not
Yep.
just write the
Mhm.
the adventures of your amazing guy, but to rather to
Mhm.
write a shared, and so you're creating opportunities for other characters, which actually teaches you to create opportunities for other characters in your own story instead of just making it about the one character. So it was great. I don't do it anymore, but it was fun.
I used
That
to
sounds
do that
cool.
way back when. I did it on
Yeah,
IRC.
that's
We
awesome.
did it live.
Yep, I did
Oh,
it too.
yeah.
In like a Buffy universe. That's how I cut my teeth, with just learning how to write and with people.
It's actually great. Like I get frustrated when people look down their nose at fan fiction and at that sort of type of writing, because it's very collaborative and it's very fun, and a lot of people get comfortable writing by
Mhm.
doing that.
And sharing what you write, right? Because I think that's
Yes.
one of the hard parts of being a writer, is like getting that place where you're okay sharing stuff. And I made lifelong friends that I still have to this day in those communities. I mean,
Mhm.
from all over the world. So it's kind of fun. That was fun too.
And Og wants to know, how about hobbies besides writing? Seifu, it's your time to shine.
I have excellent hobbies. Pick one. We're gonna go with this one because it's what I've done most recently. I brew beer because it's fun. It's a fantastic way to waste a day in the driveway or the backyard, hanging out with people, and a month later you have a really cool product that you can drink while you make more.
Tell them what you just made for Dragon Con.
We did a red IPA. It's not as red as we wanted it to be because the homebrew shop didn't have the grain we wanted. Anyway, that's a whole separate rant. But it's a red IPA. We're calling it Red Barchetta because Rush. And we went with a West Coast hop profile on it just because we haven't done one in like ever. We were looking for Fire Truck Red, which apparently we can get. There's some new specialty malts out that we could get pretty darn close to like a Fire Truck Red. I think this is gonna be more of an amber red. West Coast, probably. I'm gonna guess more like Stone than Ballast Point, but yeah.
Yeah, but the funny thing is he always takes beer to KJA, Kevin J. Anderson, at Dragon Con. So he always has to brew it this time to make sure that we have some so that he can bring it to him. So.
And this year, I told Henry he could put it on the table in front of Kevin J. Anderson.
It's the lucky things, man. Not kidding. We're texting KJA going, we need to meet. We got to give you your beer. He's like, hold on. I will be here. Bring me my beer.
Pick one of these locations. I will be there.
It's pretty awesome. All right. How about everyone else? What are your other hobbies? They're like hobbies. What are those?
I play video games.
Oh, there you go. Video games, good hobby. What about you, Dave?
I stream a lot.
Only dark things, though.
Yeah,
1,000 hours recently, right?
Yeah, I just crossed 1,000 hours streamed over the past,
nice.
I don't know, year and change. So
that's awesome. Congratulations.
Channel's been doing well, and I just had a YouTube video that got 500 views because a different guy, like one of the bigger guys in the game I play a lot, he like pushed that video out to his audience, and so they saw it. And so it's not like I necessarily got myself the 500 views, but everything's been growing, and it's cool because I don't need it to be good. Like I don't need it to turn into anything. So there's very low pressure. And I think that, and because I'm just having fun, I think that is the appeal of it.
That's
but
awesome.
And none of it would work without Abby. That's 100% correct.
And have you
Yay,
learned
Abby!
anything about feathers?
Yeah, he has a lot about feathers. Basically, I'm going to make a reference that Abby won't understand, but basically, Abby is the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson now, like or the what's the guy who hangs out with Conan?
Andy Richter.
The guy who hangs out with Conan, Andy Richter, like the Andy Richter to my Conan.
That's funny. So you wouldn't understand because she's too young.
Yes.
I'm like, not understand. Yes. She sees all your streams. Okay, I get it now. Awesome. All right. Anyone else? What are your hobbies? Jess, Kevin?
I craft a lot. I like art. I like to make art and do crafts. I play guitar badly. And I think about crime a lot. Like I think of like how would I do this crime and get away with it? Like a lot. A lot. But I don't do
still
the crime.
Cannot find a GIF of what's his nuts? Simon walking up and asking what are we doing, and
Rhymes.
Huh?
Crimes.
Crime. Right. Yeah. What are we doing? Oh, crime.
Crime?
From Kaylee.
Yeah, let's see. I like role-playing games like, D&D and the like, although not exclusively that. I would play just about any damn thing. Video games, I love to cook. I really like to just find new places that I've never been before, and go. That's a lot of fun. We just recently got back from North Carolina, which was huge fun. I'd been to North Carolina, but I had never been like, staying up in the mountains for a week. And, we did the whitewater rafting, and that was a blast. Just honestly, anything that I can sort of turn my attention to for a while, especially if it's something new and exciting that I can go and do and then move on to the next thing.
And then leave it there. That's right.
Yeah, just leave it. I did that. It was great. I can talk about it now. I'm going on to the next thing.
I love it. Cool. I don't know.
I definitely think the top answer was I think about crime.
Yeah, I think so
I think
too.
that's
Yeah,
I think Jess wins
for
that
sure.
one.
I won.
Yeah,
that's
I think
S
so.
tier.
I
What
mean,
about you, Kelly?
it's true.
Oh yeah.
My hobbies? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have any hobbies anymore. Baking, maybe.
Nice.
I do love to bake. Though I'm not allowed to eat bread this week because I didn't make my goals last week. Accountability groups, man. Telling you.
Cake is not a bread.
I had wheat thins. I had wheat thins with some goat cheese. I'm like, wheat thins, not bread. They're crackers.
Right. A
Not
muffin
even a
isn't
sandwich,
bread.
It's crackers.
Yes.
So yeah, but it is what it is. I should make my deadlines.
Yeah, but that group is working.
It is working. I mean, I got my book done. It's off to the editor. Yay, book 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now I have to outline book 1.
3.
That might be what I do for fun. I could never write again and just write outlines and pay someone else to actually write them. I love outlines. They're my favorite. So, well, that's the discovery part, right?
Yes.
So that's the discovery part for me. And it's so hard for me to actually write. Like concentrating for me is a nightmare. Anyone who's seen us stream knows that concentrating for me is a nightmare. It's so difficult for me to do. But something about outlining, because it's quick little points, right? And exploring what a character is going to do and all of that kind of stuff. And I can do it real quick. Where instead of
Right.
exploring what a character is going to do through an entire chapter, just that character, it's really hard for me to concentrate. So also without an outline, I wouldn't write at all. Because the outline gets me when I get distracted with something else. I'm like, where was I? I don't remember. Where's the outline? Okay, that's okay. I'm just going to write from there. We're good. It's good. It's all good. I got it now. I'm good. I say that a lot to myself, just to convince myself I'm good.
Yeah, if
It's
you're
all
an
good,
outliner, you might actually, have a little bit of writer's block when you're writing your outline, but you never do when you're writing your book,
Right. Exactly.
and that's kind of awesome.
Yep. I agree. So yeah, Og says if you like goat cheese, go with watermelon mint goat cheese salad. Actually, there is a watermelon arugula goat cheese salad that I like. So that mint from the
Makes
arugula
sense.
really works with the sweet watermelon. So
Yeah,
I just like
peppery.
that. And then that goat cheese for the creamy. It's my favorite. Awesome.
Awesome.
All right.
Next up,
What's
Friday
next up?
asks, "What is your favorite use of magic?"
Favorite use of magic.
In our own books or just in general?
Like in real life? I mean, we could totally answer that one, right? Magic for me in real life was when all the ingredients mix together and you get a yummy thing to eat. Mm-hmm.
My favorite
is
use of magic in fiction is probably Daniel Abraham's The Long Price Quartet series. And it's his first fantasy. It didn't do very well because it's kind of slow and a little esoteric, but it was really brilliantly done. And then the next thing he wrote was super more mainstream, and that did better. But the magic system it's a bunch of city states, and each one has cornered the market on one type of economic product. And so Abraham's contention is that anyone who had real magic wouldn't use it to conquer the world. They'd use it to make money, which is very true. And so each of these city states has cornered the market in one area by employing these beings called Ondats, and they are brought in. They are a concept made manifest into a physical entity by these people called poets, who hold the concept of this Ondat in their mind at all times. And if they ever lose the concept or die, the Ondat vanishes and can't be recaptured. You have to recapture a slightly similar one, but you can never capture the same exact one twice. But for example, so there's one in a mountain city where the Ondat is called Stone Made Soft, and they use it. He can basically do mold earth and is used for mining. And then there's one in another city called Removing the Part That Continues, and he can remove seeds from things, and they basically use him as a magical cotton gin, essentially. So they harvest cotton, and he just points his hand and all the seeds fall out of the cotton all at once. And so the premise of the series is that there's these cities just absolutely dominate trade, and then there's this other group of cities that don't have these creatures and really want to level the playing field, and so they're plotting to basically, using various methods, try to steal or destroy the Ondot so that they can, no longer be at an economic disadvantage. It's a really subtly well done magic system. I'm not doing a really great job of describing it, but it's really cool and not like anything else I've ever seen.
That's pretty awesome. I don't know. We've had magic. I think my coolest magic, there was a book, Zafo might remember, but he's trying to fix Dave, put him back in right now, that there was a magic one about the wizard. So it was a wizard that, it was kind of before like game lit or lit RPG was a thing. Like it didn't exist yet, but it was a guy who was pulled into the video game. It's that wizard one.
WizBiz.
Yes, WizBiz. It was really clever. So it was a guy pulled into a game and he was a programmer. And it turned out programming was the magic in that world. So basically he would write the program in the air. And by knowing the programming language, he knew the language of magic and he was able to do magic in that world. It was so clever. I had so much fun with that series. So, anyone else favorite magic? I like the magic of Dave leaving and coming back, and we have 2 Daves on our screen now.
Oh, great.
It's like magic.
That's awful.
Doppelganger
Yeah.
magic.
Dave, there's someone here that looks just like you. I'm just warning you.
I feel bad for that person.
I
know.
like
Oh, Zafo got rid of him.
I like that I created myself. I thought I had some fun when I created this character that was sort of like a zombie, but not like a shell of a person that you control, and they're just there to placehold. And if they get scrambled up, like they get messed up. I did that in a book, and I thought that was hilarious the way it turned out. But
that's fun magic. Anyone else?
I have a story that I haven't written. That is but it's my answer to the question. I had this group of people where like they had marks on their arms that would tell them their lifespan, and it was kind of like a primitive, kind of not necessarily like caveman tribe, but like living in a somewhat agrarian, like in the forest kind of situation. And they based all their decisions. They would think about what they're going to do, and then they look down at their arm and see whether that changed their lifespan or not. And so they were like totally, they would make all their decisions based on that. And my main character was a girl whose arm got cut off in an accident. And so she didn't have this. And I had it constructed to where her ability to think for herself instead of being a slave to constantly checking the results of whatever her decision might be, ends up saving the day. But I never could quite make it come, which is too bad because I like the concept.
It's a really cool
that
concept.
sounds cool.
You might be able to do that a short story.
It is a short story.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't ever quite nail it. But I've never let go of it either, so I'll try it again someday.
Just keep noodling it. Eventually, it might land. I'm gonna say mine. I have to go to Brandon Sanderson and his Mistborn stuff with the metals. I thought that was a really cool magic system. And yes, I'm sorry, Friday, I don't have any magic in any of my books to talk about, but I thought it was a really cool way of handling this thing and providing some limitations and providing, all of these different abilities and ways to play with it. It was fun.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of book 2 right now of that one.
I have a really hard time remembering my own stuff that I'm not. That's why I take such extensive notes, because I can't remember shit.
Your magic system's awesome though, because it's multifaceted. It's not one thing.
Yeah, which is fun. But I can't remember, what did they do with that thing that was really clever, But one thing that I do remember that I really liked, which is way stupider than David's. There's a type of fish, and it's just like a little fish, and they live in these cold water streams. And in order to get away from the crabs that live under the water, they float a couple of inches above the water. And so, people can tell where the crabs are by looking for these fish that are floating above the water. I just thought it was kind of cool. It's not special or particularly clever, but I liked it.
I think it's
Oh,
hilarious,
great.
until
That's
the
great.
birds find him.
They need a separate
Right.
defense for that. But Friday, I misunderstood the question. I only have the one magic system, and you're quite familiar with it. But it's the soul-based magic in the Unwilling Souls series, where they harvest the souls of the dead and put them into specially forged tools that will then be magical tools, do magical things. And the whole series deals with the complicated ethics of that and some of the ramifications. And I did once have someone tell me that that they enjoyed the prose at the start of the first book, but they thought that it was just too immoral to be writing about magic that was harvesting the souls of the dead. And I really wanted to say, like, did you read the
That's the point.
title of the book?
I was gonna say,
And-
at the end of the series, do they implement a system where when they register at the DMV, they have to check yes or no whether they're willing to donate their
You can
soul?
use my
Soul
soul
donor.
an hour later. That's right.
Yeah, and some of the writings are like, which is the magic device that they put the souls into. It's like a flashlight. You could have a torch, but no, they're going to capture somebody's soul and stick it in there to make a light.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh wow, these people have gone over the cliff here.
If Astra could, she totally would. Wouldn't she, Dave? If she could put a soul in the flashlight to work, she would totally.
Oh yeah,
do it.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
The flashlight
That's the long
only
dark
works
character.
during the Aurora. That's the only time flashlight works.
Well, if you use soul energy, maybe it could work anytime. See?
Yeah,
That's right,
it can.
see?
That's right. That's right. She needs some soul energy.
She needs to find Will's body and just,
I mean, if everyone else
Seance
is
impact.
dead and she's the only one left alive, there's got to be a lot of souls that she could use to power things.
That's right. Yeah.
But you have to get to
And
the
it's
summit first.
Not
so
like
that
they
you
can complain. So.
You have to what, Zafo?
You have to get to the summit first, so you can find the souls to harvest from
That's right.
everybody that.
Right.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Teach, yes, you're correct that my gene sequencing in most of the monstery stuff in The Last Humans is not what I would call rigorous science.
It's totally realistic. What are you talking about?
I would never recommend that. I would never recommend those books to anyone who only likes hard sci-fi. We'll put it that way. That's not the point.
I know, it's pretty fun
It's a lot of fun, but yeah, it's that wouldn't happen.
and horrifying.
Well, that's the fun part. It's like
Yeah.
it's like how gross can I make this? And I'm like, that was pretty gross.
You're like, it's staying in.
Well, that's still my all-time favorite comment from Kelly is in the first book there was a particularly gross part and just she had left a comment. She's like, this is horrible. I love it.
It must have worked. That's all.
Oh, Teach, I hope
It works.
I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you for picking up the Audible. I really appreciate that. And Renee did a really good job reading. But
Yeah,
yes.
Renee's doing the next one too, the Knowledge Itself.
Oh, okay.
Oh no,
I
she's not
didn't
doing
s-
Knowledge Itself.
Oh.
She did Leather and Sage. That's it. She did
That's right,
yours,
yeah.
Leather and
Mm,
Sage.
yeah.
Sorry, she's not doing that's Kisco. Sarah. We actually found a Canadian because it's Canadian and she totally fits. Like she sounds Canadian because she's Canadian. So
How
it
does that
totally
work?
works.
I don't
funny
understand.
I
how it
know,
works.
right? Who knew?
But which part of Canada? Because I'm well versed in Canadian accents and they all sound different once you
Mhm.
learn.
Well, she talks like the writers. So Where are they from? I don't remember. Some are
Over-
rural, and that does not
Yeah.
narrow it down when we're
Over
talking
on the
about
west,
Canada.
I think. Not all the way to BC, right? Or are they in BC?
I honestly do not remember right now. I have contracts with addresses. I don't remember, but they're
Yeah.
Canadian. It totally works in the mountains somewhere.
Their GPS location is. No, I'm kidding.
But it was
Their home address on the internet is this.
Hold on, I'll get it for you. No. No, but they're awesome. So that one will be fun. I guess
Did
that's
we
it. Why don't we do announcements real quick? We have any announcements?
I think we had one more question from Abby about pantsing.
Oh, whether we're pantsing or plotters?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
don't-
one's it. Go ahead.
I don't 100% know the question other than what do you guys think of pantsing, I guess, as a concept. I'm trying to find it. It's in the chat.
Yeah, I
She
think
said-
that was it. It was just
I
okay.
think
what
it was an
about
asking
pantsing?
for a friend kind of a question. She
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
She,
I guess I'm.
she is a pantser and wants reassurance that she's not doing it wrong.
You're
And
fine.
I
I
bet-
would say, based on my limited experience, and by experience I mean the stuff I've heard writers say at various conventions,
You hang out with a lot of writers, yeah.
is that pantsing is fine. So there are a lot of writers that are pantsers, and what you end up doing, as I understand it, is a lot of discovery writing is what it effectively is.
That's just another name for it. Yeah.
Right, and you basically end up as you pants the whole thing, it becomes just a really flippin' long outline that you go
Which is
back
what
and
Kevin
edit.
Petway says. Yep. I will tell you that. Remember what I said at the very beginning? Well, actually, you weren't here. And that was, if anyone tells you that the way that they're doing it is the only way to do it, and you are hence doing it wrong because you're doing it your way, they're the wrong one. There is no one way to do it. Whichever way gets that book done in a way that is presentable, that you are proud of and other people enjoy reading, well, then you're good. And if you just want to write it for you and you don't care what anyone else thinks, that's also good. If you're writing only because somebody else wanted you to write this thing and you want to make them happy, that's also okay. Like, there's no wrong. There's no wrong. I mean, it's writing. It's art, for God's sake. There's no wrong. I will tell you, though, just from, again, hanging out with lots of writers, that when I do writers on Tuesday night, right? 20 questions with your favorite author. I've asked a lot of them. And one of the questions that I had started to ask, and I stopped asking because the answer was the same with every one of them, was what do you do now that's different than when you first started that's made the difference in your career? Every single one of them said they outline now. So every single one of them said, I outline now and I didn't used to.
This guy.
I have a rebuttal to that though, Kelly.
Good. I love rebuttals.
So my rebuttal to that is my personal belief, and I'm an outliner. I
Mhm.
aggressively outline.
Me
I
too.
outline multiple bullet points and everything, and I work out, the setting and what emotions do I want to hit, all of that. And yet I still invariably end up doing some pantsing anyway.
Yep.
Because I will have an idea while I'm writing that's
Mhm.
better than what I outlined.
Mhm.
And I generally think I know the characters when I start outlining, and halfway through I realize, nope, those are not those people. So my
That is
belief
not what you would have
is
done.
my belief is that all writers pants to some degree.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I consider
agree.
myself a plantser, which is a little of both. And I generally will start a story with the ending in mind and a few major waypoints, 1 to 3, depending on how much I've thought it out in mind, and then I will pants my way between those waypoints. And sometimes the waypoints will change. Less often the ending changes. Usually, if I am ready to write the book, I'm pretty happy with the ending I want. That's the extent of my outlining, I guess. It would just be what the Roman numerals, right? Like or like no sub bullets
Do
or
you just
anything
do
like
high
that.
level?
Very
Well, I mean,
high
you could
level.
do like the
Yeah.
7-point plot structure. Like that's very, very basic.
Don't even do that.
Which is fine.
He's
Which
just
is
like,
fine.
this sounds cool. I want to get to here.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's why, like, I know Jess Astra was talking about setting up a a Patreon and how she puts out, sample chapters as she's going, and like I don't write in order, so I couldn't do that. Like I'll write a chapter and then I'll jump 2/3 through the book and write a chapter, and I go back and forth. The one thing I will say to Abby or anyone else who's interested in pantsing, plantsing, whatever version of discovery writing you do, you can expect to do more rewriting than you would if you were outlining. And that's you just have to accept that that's part of the deal. Like, so when I submitted the new draft, or the first draft of The Last Humans 2 to Kelly about a month ago, it was a roughly 80,000 word draft, and I had about 20,000 words of just discards. So, I mean, I had another 25% on top of what I wrote that I just trashed because it didn't go where I wanted it to go. So and that's pretty standard for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go back and rewrite parts of my outline. Like when Dave says you've outlined the whole thing, and then you get 2/3 of the way into it and you realize, no, these characters aren't going to go do that. They're having a conversation that's taking them in a completely different direction. So you go back and you rewrite the outline so you once again know where you're headed. But yeah, it's chopsticks. Whatever works best for you is the way you need to do it.
Yep. Yeah, and Abby said she's working on a fairly large project, and fairly large for her is what she's saying. And I'll tell you, Abby, it might be bad advice, but I don't care. I say always bite off more than you can chew. It might be hard getting through it, but man, at the end you are satisfied. Do it, man. Do it.
That's how you learn too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would definitely say, as much as I believe in outlines, never let the lack of an outline be the reason you don't write.
Oh, yes.
If you have something you want to write and you don't have an outline, just start writing.
Yep.
I'll add to that in the IT industry, if you feel like you can do the job, it's not the right job. You're not trying hard enough. Go for the next one up.
Yeah.
Yep. Keep going, man. You got this. All right. I think Zafo has a last question to wrap us up.
I do. I have a last question. Not Your History Teacher asked this, and I thought it was a perfect question to end on.
Okay.
If your writing was a platform for millions, what hidden message would you want to give your readers?
Send me money. I need it.
That's not the hidden message.
It's not a very hidden message.
That's a hidden
Upfront message.
If it is, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, clearly. It's not overt enough.
Hidden message. Who wants to go first? Jess?
Hidden message.
What are you trying to say with your writing? That's how
I'm not sure that I have a hidden message, but I'm always interested in, does the end justify the means? That's a common thing I think I write about in a lot of cases, and I'm always interested because sometimes I feel like I have that nailed down from an ethical standpoint, and then something will happen and I'm like, but no, blah, and then I get but that just shows how complicated thing that actually is. So I like that.
Excellent. Dave, did you have something?
I would say for me it's that, and kind of like Jess, I hope it isn't that hidden, but that there's nothing more powerful or more important than empathy.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, Greg?
I don't know if I have a consistent message. In Unwilling Souls, it's definitely, you should maybe not look at the only the worst examples of the side opposite you. I don't know if there's any morals in The Last Humans per se, but I guess
might be the same one, actually.
I guess yeah, that's true. I guess a consistent theme that I like to explore is what does it mean to be human in sort of every or concepts of identity, concepts of humanity. What does that mean? And in as weird and extreme ways as I can think of, basically, that's always something that I keep coming back to, I guess.
That way?
Well, I've thought about this a lot, and I think that most of us really want to do the good thing and to do the right thing and to do the brave thing and stick up for one another. And I think largely we're kind of afraid to do that. Whether we're afraid of standing out and being embarrassed, or we're afraid of going to jail, wherever it fits on that line. I think it's one of the reasons that we do read and we like heroes, is because they do the things that we want to do, but we're afraid to. And if I could put a hidden message into my books, it would be not to be afraid, to help one another, and to be empathetic, and to stick up for each other. That's definitely where I would want to go, and hopefully do. It's that's a thing that I think about.
Yeah, your heroes didn't run away very successfully.
Even though that was the name of the first book.
Yeah, no, yeah, they totally
A bad
did run
running away should have been called.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine is just, I don't know. I think it's just always found family for me, right? So it's the same thing as everyone else is saying. It's both, empathy. It's also the, getting along with each other. It's also not just getting along with each other, but accepting each other for who they are. I think that's probably the biggest thing for me. It's not, we're all like, well, that's fine. We just have to, whatever you are is great, but stay over there. It's like, whatever you are is great and come sit at my table. That's kind of the thing I prefer. So that's usually weaves in. I think Star Trek taught me that, quite frankly. So it kind of weaves in with my stories. What about you, Zafo? What message do you want to get across? I know you're not writing, but you still live life and interact with people.
One? I don't. I got nothing. No.
Is that programming? Is that the best you could come up with programming?
Oh man, I do like books where it is found family is a big thing for me. Started with Dragonlance, obviously. There, even looking at the Clancy books, some of the other non-fantasy, like techno thriller type. I wouldn't call them quite military sci-fi because they were either historical or whatever. There's an element of that in all of the military stuff of these are my people, and I'm going to take care of my people. All of that, I think that's really cool, and I think it's a big deal. So, yeah.
Well, now we know why we play so well together. We like the same kind of themes.
And crime.
And
yes, crime.
Yep.
Crime's what truly unites us.
And Dolly's hidden message is to steal my blankets. I think we all know
crime.
Right.
I-
And hide in
I
backpacks.
This is the question that most made me miss Jess. I really would have loved to hear her answer.
Mhm.
But
that. I actually would too. Yeah.
yeah,
We'll have to quiz her next time.
Yeah,
Indeed.
we'll have to do this one
Did
again.
anyone make a list? Can we get a list of all the questions?
make the first 30 minutes of the next stream is just Jess answering all the questions.
All right, ready? Go.
Right.
And someone
No, we'll
goes,
do this again,
wrong. Next one,
Yeah.
wrong.
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 Oh, you know what? We forgot though. The question at the beginning. What did they vote? Where do they think we're going?
They came up Belize, and
Well,
the answer
guess
is
what? We are going to Belize. We
Yeah.
decided it's in. So Belize
Yep.
is in. We're very excited. We looked
You're
for one tour
wrong.
and decided we were not in good enough shape to go to that particular tour. But we're doing a lot of fun things.
right.
Awesome.
We can't go
All
to
right.
the one where you have to like swim into the cave and then
You lost me
boulder
there.
and then like Yeah, no, it was nuts. It looks
I was like-
amazing.
It does. I'm like, well, maybe
But-
we can get into shape and do it again, but not this year.
Sure.
But awesome. All right, y'all were great. Thank you so much for hanging with us. We'll be back next Monday where we will actually play D&D. Sadly, Dolly cannot be with us then either, but she will be in the nice backpack doing her job. We just didn't want to miss her for 2 days, or 2 sessions.
2 in a row.
So-
We can't miss her for 2 in a row.
We can't. Nope, 2 in a row is no good. So we will be back next week and we shall explore that Upper Dark City. So thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you then. Bye.
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 Bye.